Peace, peace, y'all. Peace, 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 peace. You know it's Sav. I'm back. Shout out to all y'all. Shout out to y'all that been checking out the videos, checking out the streams. I'm gonna get back to also doing some music reviews like I used to, and I'm gonna start putting my intro down and really chopping up and not doing just so much streaming. But I do like streaming because it gets everything I get out there to the world, and I can and I ain't gotta do as much editing. But appreciate y'all for checking it out. And today we're gonna review a couple of videos. We're gonna start with Amala, my girl Amala. For me, love her to death. She fire, gives some good points. One of these days, I'm gonna be on the screen with her. Feel me? And I'm gonna be like how Taylor was. You know, if anybody know Amala's show, I'm gonna be like how Taylor was. And Taylor was like the person in the background that he probably still run the whole production and shit like that. But I mean, I just want to do some commentary and shit, you know what I mean? And meet her and shit, you know. But let's get I ain't gonna hold, like I always say, I ain't gonna hold y'all. Let's get right into the video. This first video right here is wild. They asked my male child if he ever felt like a girl. That's crazy. I don't even want to get into that. I don't even want to get into that shit right now. Let's just do what we was gonna do. You know what? I lied. We go.
If I'm about to be dragged for saying this or not. Maybe it's because I was in.
Okay, y'all can hear me in the headphones, but this thing is not coming out the headphones. No, I don't need to share that to. Oh, headphones are not working. I knew there's a reason why I didn't use these things. They just don't work. Let's try this out. They just broke. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So far, I tried something different. It didn't work. Good to know. We're going to make this video hour and a half, and then I'm going to go to Aldi's. Because, like, look, this is the one thing I want to say before I get on this video. Stop sharing it. It'll just have me face up. This food stamp whole debacle, this whole welfare thing is crazy. And it is a shit show. And you know what? Immigration has also been crazy too. Because you would think a lot of Americans can understand that illegal shouldn't be in this country. I get it if they're in your own family. I get it if they're running away from whatever's happening in their country. But the problem is when they get here, they're still not applying for it, or, you know, because then that's when you find out, like, oh, then somebody's been in this country for 5 years. Or you find out, like the 18-year-old kid that they arrested, he overstayed his visa. He had a visa until he was 16. And then he just decided, well, fuck it. I don't got to obey the rules. I don't got to reapply for the visa, because you know before the visa is going to expire. Why didn't you reapply? Or the people that was watching over you, why didn't they reapply the year before it expired? So it's like, you know, certain things have to happen, because you should not be in this country illegally, and no other country in the rest of the world will want you there illegally as well. You know, especially when you have we should not have people complaining when we have illegal immigrants that are driving. You know, they're driving, they got a seat, they didn't get a CDL, just the company put them in there because they had to get their quota, and then they're crashing and they're killing people. You got to go. Why should we lock you up and leave you in our jail so that the taxpayers can pay even more for you? No, you got to go back to your country, and you can't come back. I don't understand why Americans can't understand that, why illegal immigrants have to go. You know, I don't understand why these Americans are so weird nowadays. that they don't understand that illegal immigrants have to go. Now the legal ones, of course, can stay. The ones, if you applied for it and it's taking 3 to 4 years, and we look through at least this is the way I would do it. We look through your history and you don't even have a parking ticket, you're fine. Even if you do have a parking ticket, it's a parking ticket, right? Now it's different if you never applied, you came here illegally, and then we look through your record and you got 3 or 4 misdemeanors, 2, 3 felonies, and then you out and you still fucking up, and now you gotta go. Gotta go. And I get the whole statement of that most illegals that come here are not causing crime. I agree with you on that. And they don't want to cause crime. They're coming to have a better life. But I will say that the ones that are committing crimes fuck it up for the rest of y'all. The same way the people of my hue that are committing crimes may fuck it up how other people look at me, nor do I give a fuck. And if you want to be ignorant like that, you can be ignorant like that, because people say shit like, well, blacks commit 50% of the violent crimes. Well, blacks are also 50% of the exonerated class. 50% go to blacks. You know what I mean? So that means most of the crimes that they say motherfuckers commit, 50% of them, they try them, put them on trial, send them through, and then they come to find out, oh, you didn't actually commit that. So there we got that. And then if you want to go off these statistics, 70% of all people that are into CP, and we're not talking about cheese pizza, we're not talking about comedian Chris Powell, or I forgot, I don't think that's his name, Chris Powell, it might be, but the dude from Detroit, we're not talking about him. We talking about it starts with child, and it rhymes with corn, and that's 77% of white people. 70% of white people also commit child abuse. So we should just keep all our kids from white people. I mean, and we know y'all not going to do that. It's like a lot of I think it's like 35% either Asian or Latino community commit fraud, or they steal or something like that. So should we just start locking up our possessions now whenever we see a Latino? So y'all got to cut that shit out, because just because that's what the statistics said does not mean that's how you treat everybody. Because I've heard a stupid ass comment today. Is like, I'd rather be racist and be alive than dead and not racist. Like, well, you can be dead and racist too. You can be not racist and be alive. Like, what are you talking about? That has nothing to do with anything. But now, moving on from this immigration, going on to welfare, it's becoming a shit show. I didn't know we had that many people using and abusing the system, because that, it's like they said 41 million Americans are on welfare. All right, let's say, I don't want to say half, so I would say, yeah, let's say half. So half, 41 million, half, that'll go down to what, to 20.5. So 20.5 of them need it, and 20.5 are abusing it. That's a lot of fucking Americans that are abusing the system. And I know people, I've heard videos, I've seen people be like, in fact, when I was a kid, when I was just turning 18 and we was all going out to the workforce, yeah, man, I'm just going to not have a job because, that's how my mom got her money, and she doing all right, the government paid for that. I've seen videos of women telling their kids, like, nah, you can't go get no job because the government gonna fuck up my shit. Welfare gonna fuck up my shit if you go get a job. So no, you're gonna be broke like me. I've seen crazy things. I've seen videos of people being on here being entitled, like the taxpayers have to pay for my kids. You decided to have 6 kids. We ain't gotta pay for that shit. I mean, they like, oh, y'all been paying for it so long. Don't start punking out now. Fuck you. How about you go work for your kids? Because I'm gonna be honest. If they did those people like they did me, we'd be a lot better off. Because the one time, I'm gonna tell you the truth, because I like being honest with who I am. It just makes it easier in the world. One time we were very broke, and not my parents. One time we were very broke, where it was about 5, 6 of us all living in the house together. 3 of them, one of them worked at this time. So he was good. He was doing his thing. Um, the rest of them, and then me. So me, the other 4 of them applied for welfare. 2 didn't get it. Then the other 2 did get it. And the ones that get it were like my close friend that I grew up with. So let me finish the story. So let me get this right. No, okay, all right. I'm getting it wrong. All right. So it was 4 of us in the house at that time, right? It was 4 of us in the house at that time. Me, the dude that worked, so he did his thing. My boy that I know my whole life, and then my girl at the time, my ex, right? She went down and applied for welfare, right? They gave it to her, right? But here's the crazy part. They gave it to her. They gave it to my boy. So them 2 sat up there and convinced me. They was like, "Hey, yo, bro, man, you could be like us. You could be like us. You could have the welfare, and you could have the EBT. We get food stamps. We could all be eating, right?" They had to convince me. I'm like, "Nah, man. I'm still getting unemployment." I was like, "Nah, man. I'm not with that. I'd rather get a job." But they ended up convincing me. It took like a good week, right? I think it didn't take that long. It didn't take that long. I think it took like 2-3 days. But they kept talking to me, finally convinced me. So I go apply. And in the nicest way possible, they told me, "Get your ass up and go work." And I was 19, 20 years old at the time. My ex at the time was pregnant. So I had a kid coming on the way. And yeah, so I'm thinking, yeah, this is a short shot. They told me, "Hey, get your ass up and go work," in the nicest way possible. Trust me, they didn't say it in a mean way. They wasn't like, "Motherfucker, get your ass up and go work. You ain't got about this." They was just like, they just looked at me. They was like, "Nah, D9, oh no, you can definitely go work. You look able-bodied to me." Anyway, so by the end of the week, we go to use their food stamp card, my boy and old girl. And by the end of the week, they didn't have any food stamps either. So well, we just toughed it out like we did. And old girl ended up working at a daycare center, so she's getting her little something. Then I started working, and then my boy started working too. So it all worked out. We had to struggle for a little bit, and that's the reason why I don't eat chicken now to this day, because we ate chicken for over a month straight. I mean, breakfast chicken, lunch chicken, dinner chicken, snack chicken. The dogs ate chicken. Hey, man. Yeah, I mean, you want dessert? Chicken. Go put some sugar on it. It was that. It was like that. It was straight chicken. So that's the reason why I don't. If anybody ever asks me chicken, I'd be like, no, nah. I don't want it. Unless I get to the point, I'll be honest with you, unless I get to the point where I'm so drunk, I just need something to eat, then I'll eat chicken. Or, yeah, because not even if I'm just hungry. If I'm so drunk, I need something to eat, then I eat chicken. But that's the reason why I don't. And everybody's always like, "Aren't you black? Aren't you melanated?" Well, they never say that. They say, "Aren't you black?" And I'd be like, "Nah, I'm melanated." I always got a good response for that. I was like, I'm a person. I'm a human. And just because other people that look like me or dark like me eat chicken don't mean I have to, So that's the first thing. And it's going to be crazy because like I said, if they did them like me and told them to go work, most of them people would go and got a job and figured out how to go work. But the fact that you let them get on the system and live off the system, and then once you get on the system, these people don't ever get off. It should be a program where it shows like, okay, you can get on this program, but we're going to help you get into working. You can't stay on this program for more than 6 months to a year, unless there's a reason why you need to be on there for longer than that, like you're disabled, or senior citizens use that program a lot, or let's say you do have small children, where obviously it's better to have the mom around the small children, so they're 1, 2, or something like that. But then after that, once they start going to daycare and different programs, hey, you need to start working. And that's that, or and what I really hope, and the crazy part is people are talking about stealing. People are talking about they just going to go steal and just go run out and bring they talking about one of the videos I said, she's like, and I'm going to bring my cousin with me. I'm already 250 pounds. I wish you would say something, blah, blah, blah. He's going to smack you and keep going. Do you know that's called assault and battery? You know what? Like, that's actually called battery. If he's just going to smack you and keep going and not say no words, that's called battery. So that's battery. Battery comes with a charge of up to like 5 years. So like while y'all sitting up there talking about I'm going to go out and steal for my kids because we got to eat and stuff like that, then you smack up somebody, then they call the police and now they catch you for stealing. And because you battered somebody, now you're really not going to be near your kids. So like, do people think things through before? And then why do all these videos end up on the internet? I don't get why everybody comes to the internet to talk. I get that I'm talking to the internet right now, but I'm not talking to the internet about what crimes I'm going to commit. That's just ludicrous. So that's ludicrous. You know what I mean? But let's get into the video. But what I'm really hoping that this does is it brings family back together. That is my hope. I'm not saying everybody's family will get back together, because a lot of these people that are sitting up here talking about, well, we're going to steal and stuff like that, they're hard-headed and they don't care about their kids and their family. I don't give a fuck what any of them say. Because if you care about your kids and your family, hey, go get back with your kid's father. You know what I mean? At least through this rough period. Hey, man, who else going to take care of the kids like the father? Who else going to look out for them like the father? Like I told some women were sitting up there talking about, a little $40. I don't care about that little $40 you got. I don't care about that $30 an hour you make. Hey, it's real valuable now. It's real valuable now when you can't put food on the table. When you can't take care of yourself, it becomes real valuable then. Somebody say I'm an asshole, but hey, I'm just telling the truth. It's real valuable then. But anyway, like I said, let's go on to the video. That's enough of me talking. Let's start this up. It's this gay one. I'm pulling up right now.
I was in prison for a decade and I just didn't see society evolve, but I took my son to the pediatrician. This happened and I'm highly effing offended. Okay, so my son plays sports. In order to be actively participating in the sports at school, you have to have a sports physical on file every single year. I took him to the pediatrician for this sports physical. Whenever any of us go to a doctor's visit, we all know that they do the triage. They do the blood pressure, the height, the weight, and all that right when you get there. And so when we get there, they're going to take him to do the triage like they do any other time. What ended up happening was they put us in a room without doing triage. When they put us in the room, they called my son out by himself, and she was like, oh, we're just going to go do the weight and the height and everything. And I was like, okay, cool, no problem. They took him around the corner and I could see like the side of his chair and I could see like half of his body, but I couldn't see like the little nook that she was in where she was writing everything down. It was not a big deal, but I kind of just stuck my head out just a peek. I'm a mom and I'm nosy. I've been in prison. Like, I want to see what's going on. So I'm just standing in the doorway of the patient room and I'm like watching him. I end up seeing that after she does the blood pressure, the height, and the weight, she ends up handing him a clipboard with a piece of paper. In my mind, I'm like, oh, that's peculiar. Number one, I've already answered all the health questions, like the medical history. Number two, why would you give it to a 12-year-old kid? Like, he doesn't know his medical history. But again, like, I've already answered all that. So what the heck is that form? But I did want to help. So I thought, let me walk over there and just make sure he doesn't need my help with any of these questions. I end up walking over there. I look over his shoulder and I see that, he's checking things off and he's answering questions. And I'm like, all right, good job, babe. Like, you're answering everything on your own. You've got this. You're growing into a great little man, very independent, self-sufficient. It's all good. I'm going to leave it alone. I'll talk to him about what they were asking later and make sure that he understands the severity of answering these questions accurately, because it has to do with health, or so I thought. So I walk away and I go back into the room. About a minute or so later, he comes back in the room, with the nurse, and he sits down. The nurse closes the door and she's like, the doctor will be in a minute. Before I could even utter one word, my son looks at me and says, Mom, that was the weirdest form I've ever had to fill out. Of course, now my interest is piqued and I'm like, what kind of form was it? He's like, they asked me if I was gay, straight, or bisexual. They asked me if I felt like I was...
What the fuck?
Was the gender that I was assigned to at birth. They asked me if I ever felt like I was a different gender. They asked me what gender I identify best with, how much I ate every day, how many hours I slept, and things that I know that they ask during psych evaluations at the prison. That's where they ask you in that type of setting.
I would have went off. I would have went ballistic.
Went crazy on him. Because what are you doing asking my kid that? You know, no, he ain't never felt like no girl. No, that's a boy. That's a boy. Even if he did feel like a girl, you know what I mean? Fuck this. Cut that shit out. Cut that shit out. You're a boy. You a boy, Damon. Cut that shit out. I don't hear that shit. I don't hear that shit. Like I said, this video is going to piss me off. And you know what? I know Anton going to give a great soliloquy, but we gonna keep moving. I just want to hear the rest of the video at this point.
And they asking them about their gender.
Like in mental health settings, everything was kind of weird at that moment. And in my mind, I instantly got pissed the hell off. So the doctor comes in a few minutes later and I'm like, hey, doc, I don't know when you guys started this, but I don't appreciate you guys giving a 12-year-old that form, particularly my 12-year-old, when you don't know if that subject matter has been even discussed in our household. You don't know if he knows what these words and terms mean. For the record, he does. I mean, I think most 12-year-olds probably do, but that's besides the point. They don't know that. You don't know if now I'm going to have a conversation with my child discussing why he's being asked this, what the relevance is to his life, and explaining things that he may not have previously known, and I didn't want to discuss just yet because I didn't think it was age appropriate. You can't make that generalization because the reality is that 12-year-olds, most of them are not engaging in sexual behavior, and everything they hear is just from social media. They don't even know a lot of the time at that age, like what.
I ain't gonna lie. For you was in prison for a decade, you held up well. You know what I mean? You look cute. You know what I mean? Even with the makeup and the thing. But I mean, I feel like she attractive after, so she probably wasn't in like a super strong prison. I don't know what you did that got you locked up for 10 years, but I might hit it. You know, if she ain't got like a whole bunch of tattoos, and I don't like a whole bunch of tattoos and shit, I might hit it.
Actual real information is like what is legit and what they just hear on social media and from their friends. They might not know what your birth assignment was. They might not know what transitioning is. And why would they if it hasn't been something that's come up in their household before? And you wouldn't know that because you didn't bother to ask. So at the very least, I would have appreciated it if you would have brought that to me, said, hey, mom, scan this real quick.
I don't know how to feel because I'm not a parent. Well, I guess I'm not as outraged as other ones are showing it on the screen because I'm not a parent, but I can just imagine being a parent. And first of all, anytime I went to the doctor, any form was filled out by the parent that was with me, either my mom or my dad. And that was up until I was like 15, 16. Like I was just letting them, there were certain things that I had to fill out, you know, because client privilege, like I think, but that only happened after I turned 18, I feel like, because there was one time where I was sick in the hospital and the doctor had to come in and ask me, there's like, yo, you've been having unprotected sex with anybody? Like, because it could have been they thought at the time it could have been a venereal disease. It was not, though. It was not. That was not the reason why I was in there. But, there's certain questions that they got to ask you without your parents. I didn't know that they did that to 12-year-olds. But, I can get that off of 18 because when I was in the hospital, I was like 19, 20. And they asked my parents to leave the room. I'm like, look, you could tell them, you could ask them in front of me. I don't care. Like, we talk about everything. Like, these are my parents. And they was like, unfortunately, we can't talk to them about this in front of you. It's just part of HIPAA and the privacy laws and stuff like that. You can tell them afterwards, but we can't. We're bound under whatever the fucking laws that they couldn't do it. So maybe this is one of those laws, but it's weird that it's happening to kids. Normally that's for once you become an adult, or if you're maybe a teenager, 17, 16, maybe then, but And even my 16, 17-year-old, I want to know. You know, my 18, 19, 20-year-old, I want to know. But yeah, that's the only time I seen it happen to me personally, and that was when I was well over being 18. But my parents still filled out everything. You know, if I go to the doctor with my mom right now, I'm still gonna give her the form, and she's gonna fill it out. And she'd be like, "No, you're grown. You fill it out, boy." And I'd be like, "Come on, mom. You know, I want to fill out the form. You know." Yeah, but the good thing with my family is no, we don't. We're blessed. We don't really have, in my immediate family, especially, we don't really have any sicknesses and ailments and stuff like that. We take care of ourselves. My parents take care of themselves, so we've been extremely lucky. God has blessed us. So most of the time I'm just filling out no on all those questions, so it makes it easy. But yeah, no, it's really weird that they did it to a 12-year-old. It's really, really fucked up and weird that they did it to a 12-year-old.
Quick, if you're okay with us giving it to your child, then you know we would like to, and that would
I would have been angry as hell.
You did it in a sneaky way. You put us in the room together, then you called him out by himself, and then you gave him this form, this very explicit form with very detailed, personal, invasive questions, and you didn't even bother to give me a heads up.
Right.
What if we had never discussed that before, and he got in the car, and now all of a sudden he wanted to know all these things, and I was thinking that it's not age appropriate. I was going to wait till he was 14 or 15, and now you've just created a problem. Or what if you have a very impressionable and naive child, and now...
Why does she think that this is something that was outrageous when she first started the video? I wouldn't have thought that her reaction was outrageous whatsoever. Actually, I think that she's being way more reasonable than most people would have. Most people...
I agree. I know most people would go crazy. Like if that was my father, and I could see how it would be, because I've seen times with him go crazy on teachers or, you know, different other things where they've been disrespectful, you know, the police, you know, YMCA doctor, you know, I mean, I've seen him. For the most part, he is not that way. He is very calm, very, you know, and knows how to articulate himself well, you know, control the room. But I've seen him blow up on somebody if he had to, if he needed to. So I can imagine if me being at 12 during my age of when I was 12, I was sick for a few months. I was in the coma and everything. If I come out the coma and the doctors or you know, whatever, you know, I could, whatever, I'm doing whatever test or whatever that day, the doctor's like, well, and you feel like a girl, or they hand me some paper where when he's not around. Yeah, I could see him going off. I could see him going off with no problem.
Would have went ballistic.
Yeah,
man. I wouldn't even have stayed at that doctor. I'd have left out. And then I would have protested them actually charging me or the insurance companies.
You actually have planted a seed to where they're going to go searching. So she's like, oh, well, you know, we just want to be inclusive and afford the opportunity for every kid to feel comfortable. And I said, I understand inclusivity and I understand leaving your child behind or their feelings. That's valid. But there's a difference between recognizing that a child needs to talk to somebody about something that they may not be able to talk about at home and introducing subject matter.
All right, I'm done with this. I get where she's going. It's wrong. Yeah, it's just at being 12. It's one thing if they were 18, but this is crazy. The modern remake apocalypse. I don't know what that's about. You know I want to see that, but first I want to talk about this. I want to talk about my...
Keke Palmer's getting flamed on the...
Amala Ekpunobi. Ekpunobi. With the motherfucking afro right there and the dragon tattoo. That's what I'm talking about today. Amala, what you got for me?
On the internet for a new show that she's released with her media company, Keke TV. Now, Keke TV claims to uplift Black voices and Black stories, but its new show, Southern Fried Rice, features an Asian girl who goes to a historically Black college. Now, many Black people are upset about this show for a multitude of reasons, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Yes, today we're talking about Keke Palmer and Southern Fried Rice. Yes, I know, a very creative name for a show where an Asian goes to an HBCU, Southern Fried Rice. Now I'm going to get straight.
I ain't gonna lie, I like the name of the show. I probably would have just checked it out. There's Southern Fried Rice. She was an Asian, grew and went to HBCU off of that. Hey, I probably would have checked it out. I like the name of the show. I'm in the minority.
To the point here, I decided to watch at least the very first few episodes of this show to sort of get my footing on what's going on here, and I'll describe it to you. The show follows a young Asian girl by the name Coco who gets accepted to an HBCU. Now, of course, she's going to be an Asian in a predominantly Black university, and this causes a lot of conflict. She gets there, and while she does feel in place because she is adopted by a Black family and grew up in Black culture, she does experience a bit of conflict in some of the students there not really vibing with her presence, one of them being her roommate at the college. The show grapples with Black culture and the adoption of said culture by other races, and Coco in the show, I should also note, has a best friend who's a 17-year-old Black girl who happens to be pregnant, and she's grappling with the idea of having this baby or not having the baby and going to college. That's really about all you need to know for right now. We're going to get into the criticism of this show because I hopped on TikTok and
all right. Already before Amala continues, I like the show. I think it depends how it was acted, but to me, from what she's describing, it reminds me of Dear White People. If anybody see that with Logan Brown, Logan Browning, also a great actress. It just reminds me of that show, but like in the reverse, because Logan Browning she was from in the show, her mom was white and her dad was Black, and so she was a mixed character, and she had to try to fit in on a predominantly white campus, what they call a PWI, and all the Black students lived in the Black dormitory or whatever it was for the most part, and then then they had this program, that program, and blah blah. Anybody that's seen the show know it was acted very well. First 3 seasons. I did not see the last season. Well, I didn't see the most of the last season because I don't like musicals. After the first episode was a musical, it was over with for me. I didn't watch anymore, I'll be honest with you. So one of these days, I'm going to go back and watch the last season, but the first 3 seasons were fire. The first 3 seasons were fire, in my opinion. And that's what it seems like it's to me. She kind of did the reverse. Instead of it being a Black girl coming into a white campus, it was an Asian girl coming into a Black campus, a HBCU, a historically Black college. So off rip, I don't see no issues with the show. I like the name. It's clever. It's funny to me. Southern Fried Rice. I don't know. It feels funny to me. It's cool. And then I like what the premise of the show is. 17-year-old Asian girl adopted by a Black family, going to a HBCU. So let's see what the criticisms are about.
Instagram, and I kept seeing video after video of people flaming Keke Palmer for putting this show out. So let's find out why. This first one says a show about Southern Asian American women titled Southern Fried Rice.
I thought that was I ain't gonna lie, I thought that was the Baby Back Ribs song. I thought it was gonna be like Baby Back Ribs. That's my fat ass. That's some fat ass shit. I definitely thought it was gonna be like Baby Back Ribs. That shit. I might be racist in it myself.
Okay, so no commentary there, but let's read the comments. One person says the Black and Asian community staring at each other because neither of us asked for this. Another says both communities looking at Keke because what the hell? And this last one says the Black and Asian community in equal confusion. So the key bit of criticism here seems to be that this is a weird blend of Black and Asian culture and that it's been a totally unnecessary show to have been made, having an Asian who's also a minority head into a minority space like an HBCU. And they're not really to say. But let's move on and watch another TikTok.
Guys, please do not get mad at me. Please do not get mad at me. I'm just keeping it real, okay? Hear me out. Southern Fried Rice. They released a statement. They said, You guys are anti-intellectuals because you guys don't understand representation. You guys don't understand that representation is not just black and white. There's gray in between. And I'm not saying
That's
okay, like I'm not trying to be rude, but you guys, like, how many of you guys know of an Asian person who got adopted into a black family and went to an HBCU? Raise your hand. Not
just because you don't know any doesn't mean it couldn't have happened or it hasn't had happened already. You know, I don't know any. This is going to be an extreme example, but I don't know any pedophiles, but they have them out there. I don't know any PDF files, but they have them out there. I get it. That's an extreme example. So let's bring it down a little bit. I don't know personally offhand. All right, bam. Of all the people in my life, I only know 2 people that are on welfare currently, right? I don't know about if the people have been on there in the past, but we've never talked about that. Currently, and of the 2 people that are on welfare, those 2 are married. So technically it's one couple. It's just, but of all the people in my life, and now at this point, they're off of welfare, but they were on food stamps for a long time. Almost the whole amount of time that I've known them. But that's let's say it like that. Just because you don't know any and you're Asian, it doesn't mean that it couldn't have happened. It could have happened. It could happen in the future. Who's to say? It may be, the one, like the one Asian chick from Young Rich Bosses or something like that. Whatever that Asian movie that had her in here. I don't know if it's an Asian movie, but it was that movie that had her in here. I know I look crazy. I got the shit dangling. I need to tie it up and everything. But her, she come out and then they said she was using a black scent, because they heard how she talked regularly. And she was like, but I grew up in New York. So am I not supposed to speak like the people around there? Or you want me to be speaking Chinese or something? Because I didn't grow up learning Chinese or Korea or wherever she was from. She was like, I grew up in New York and this is how we speak, so this is how we talk. So this is how I talk. And they try to accuse her. And this was like years ago about having a black accent and shit like that. She's like, I grew up in New York. This is how we all talk. This is how we all communicate with each other. So just because you didn't see it happen doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Not me. So an interesting point. Has this happened before? And does something have to have happened before for it to be fictionalized and presented in a TV show? What I find interesting is that the reaction to this show is kind of exemplifying some of the features of the show itself. In the show, as I said before, there is a character who is very much against this Asian girl being at the HBCU, is saying that she's not really black, even though the Asian character is never truly claiming to be. She's just experienced blackness by virtue of being adopted. And the response to the show is kind of similar to that. People are saying that this is a story that doesn't need to be told. It's a form of representation that is not needed. Others are saying, why pedestalize an Asian person and an Asian story when Key TV is supposed to be about black stories? And I find it fascinating because blackness is really the highlight of this story. We're seeing how black culture responds to something different being placed within it. So it really is a black story at the end of the day, even though we are focusing on an Asian character. Still, it is centered around blackness. And I have my issues with that as a separate note to all of this, but nonetheless, you're getting a black story. So make it make sense. We are dealing every damn day with a role being race swapped and a black person now playing a historically white person or somebody of a different race. And we're dealing with that and talking about it, but you get one show about an Asian going to an HBCU and this is the reaction. Come on now. Now, here's a TikToker saying that she would have made the show a totally different story.
Should have been a black girl studying abroad in Korea, navigating a culture that is not only fascinated by her, but still sees her as other. It would have dove in deeper into stories of identity, belonging, and respect, and not leaned into surface level stereotypes.
The problem with what she just said was it's the exact same show, just in reverse. The problem of what she just said was that makes it the exact same show, just in reverse. Then it wouldn't be Southern fried rice anymore. It would be Korean fried chicken. Like that would have to be the show name because it would be in Korea, and then fried chicken would be representing the black girl. You know, so it'll be all the same fucking stereotypes and shit that you're saying, just in reverse. Like she's gonna have that at the HBCU with the Asian, because it's not just the one student that opposed to her. I'm pretty sure there's other students that will oppose to her or something like that. At least in real life, I know how it is. Like people, you know, I'm just saying, she literally just said the same thing in reverse. She literally just said the same thing in reverse. Like they could still learn about the racism, the what she said, stories of identity. Let's go
studying abroad in Korea, navigating a culture that is not only fascinated by her, but still sees her as other. It would have dove in deeper into stories of identity, belonging, and respect, and not leaned into.
Right, yeah. So the culture that sees her as other. You think the black culture doesn't see Asians as other? You think the ones in the HBCU don't see the Asians as other, being that this is a historically black college? And this is like, you just want the main character to be a black girl. Let's be honest. That's the whole issue with what you're saying, because what you said is just backwards. You know what I mean? It's not like you changed anything. You just had them going over to Korea and have her studying abroad over there versus the Asian girl going to HBCU. So we're literally talking about the same shit here. You know what I mean? So, and then she talking about respect and surface level stereotypes. I can almost guarantee you want to talk about a stereotype that is very true. I can almost guarantee you, and I don't know her personally, but her will have some issue with her. Just because Amala grew up with a white mom, she will find at some point to say, well, you don't understand because you grew up with a white mom and blah, 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 and this, that, and the third, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if her dad was around or her dad lives in America. I don't know. So I just know she talked about her mom before. So, and that's almost a stereotype that I've almost always seen in my life happen a lot, especially with women. Especially with women. I know a girl who is lighter than Amala, but all her family and brothers and sisters are this color. She just happened to be hit with the light gene. You know? And it's no issue. It's no issue for her, you know, because none of her family treats her crazy. It's just the people outside the fucking house. They be like, oh, you like, man, you must be mixed. You know, your mom must be white. She's like, nope, both my parents black. Both my parents dark skin. I mean, so whatever you trying to say, oh, well, you don't understand it because this, that, and third. Oh, I understand it very well. Both my parents dark skin. Yeah, I don't get treated no differently. It's just like y'all treat me differently. But anyway, let's just continue, because she just wants the character to be black.
Surface level stereotypes.
Baby girl, we don't have the budget for that. She's saying, take your low budget show where you filmed on like some random campus with some, let's be honest, you know, not the highest level of actors. We just brought in some actors to do this show and probably paid them not the greatest wage. Just switch that over to Korea and have a black girl navigate that entire situation. Not only do we not have the budget, but that is not the story that we were attempting to tell here. That is not the story that they wrote. You can't just come in and look at something that somebody's created and be like, you know what? What if we just flip the entire thing on its head because I'm uncomfortable with the story that you've told me? Huh? But let's listen.
Keke Palmer's new web series, Southern Fried Rice, is about an Asian girl who's raised.
That's funny. Okay. But if you want to experience a black person being dropped into Asian culture, go play that new Assassin's Creed game, I think.
And I have some questions. So this is me, the only black girl in my class in Koreatown, LA. So I've lived that mixed identity of having Asian classmates, being bullied daily, and begging my mom to switch schools. Now
that's something I ain't never do. I ain't never begged my parents to have me switch schools or anything because, oh, it's a lot more white people here, or there's more black people here, or it's that and the third. I'm just gonna tough it out. I mean, it's not that serious. So bullying, you can't really bully me. And I mean, it's been hard because I accept who I am. I accept everything about me, how I look, you know, how my ears are a little bit small, you know what I mean? I might have a big ass forehead, whatever. Sometimes I look crazy. I mean, hey, I've been accepting me a long time ago. I had that talk with myself in the mirror a long time ago. So you can't really bully me. You can bully somebody else. And then it probably helps that I'm usually taller than everybody, so that probably helps. But yeah, I ain't never had to beg to get to leave or anything. I never wanted to. I'd rather just make friends where I'm at, stay at the school that I'm at.
Asian and Black community have a lot of similarities culturally, from the strict households, heavy expectations, and this responsibility and pressure to succeed at a very young age. But socially, it's different.
Nah, man, it's not. They don't have the same. I disagree with that totally. We don't have the same households. Black parents are more accepting. If you decide to go take your ass and get an art degree, they'll let your ass take and get an art degree. We might not be paying for it. You know what I mean? In Asian households, ain't no art degree, ain't no choice. You know what I mean? You going into this, you going into that, you going into that, because we about making money, we about this, we about, being up here and being a certain way. And that's where that's at. So, of the ones that break off, it's usually a issue with their parents when they break off and they go into a different route, from what I've heard and from what I've learned from, some of the Asian people and from some of the videos that I've watched on different Asian people and their culture and stuff like that. So, nah, it's different. It's totally different. Being successful at a young age that's everybody, I would think. Being successful at a young age is also a problem in our community, because in order to be successful, you have to fail. And people are expecting the first thing to hit. People are expecting the second thing to hit. And then they don't realize, failure comes with success. And you can fail and start back over and get better, and fail and start back over and get better. And eventually you lead up to that point. So being successful at a young age comes with a price. And the price is that our children don't get to fail. And failure is what you need, because that's how you need to learn. But I do believe that some of the cultures may line up the same, but it's just different. I don't believe we're the same, like the way she said it, culture and parenting and being successful at a young age and restrictions or whatever it is. I don't believe that. I see Black people being way more lenient in their life and with their kids' life, with less discipline, less stay on it, less strictness. I'm not seeing them as strict as she's making it seem.
Here in the US, Asians are often seen as the invisible minority, which may seem better than being targeted for your skin color. But after all, there's still colorism within the Asian communities. The darker your skin.
That's every community. Every community is literally like that. Filipinos, Blacks are like that. I just said how.
The more you're targeted. And I
just said Blacks are like that because she would have an issue with her, because she got a white mom. But dad's still Black, obviously she's definitely a Black girl, but anyway, that happens in every community. It happens in Spanish communities, any different type of Spanish communities, where the Brazilian, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Mexican, any of them, if you're darker versus the lighter, it's always been an issue. It's like that probably in Korea with darker Koreans and lighter Koreans. It's got to be it's like that in China and Japan with darkers and lighters. That's crazy for me to put it like that, but that's the best way to put it right now. It's like that. It's like that in America with darkers and lighters. It's even like that with I had a person I used to know. He always talk about Black Irish, and people would be like, "What is Black Irish?" And I'm going to tell you the truth. The way I see it, it's just Irish. You're Irish, bro. All right, your father's American, but you're Irish, bro. You're Irish American. I mean, yeah, Black American, you could say that, but American is what it is. Like, so to me, I just say that these Irish, and he'd be like, no, it's a difference, you know, Black Irish, because the Irish people treat you differently. And that's what I'm getting at is Irish, full-blooded Irish gonna treat you differently than if you're a little bit darker and Irish, you know, so it happens everywhere. That literally happens everywhere. If you look in, if you want to talk about even Asians of the same hue treat each other differently, because Japanese, Koreans, Southeast Asians, Thailand's, Thailations, I don't know, but that sound fire. Thailations, you know, Filipinos, they all treat each other differently based on where you from. They all look down on each other. Oh, you from that country? Oh, you blah blah blah. Or you from that country? Blah blah blah. And, you know what I mean? Like they all look down on each other, and they might be the same skin color. You might look at them and just think they all Asian, but they from 5 different areas, and all of them got a different complex of how they're better than the other one or superior to the other one. So that's a global thing.
Global. Now, I haven't seen the series yet, and I do plan to check it out, but when culture and identity are on the table, we deserve stories with depth, not just surface level storytelling. And I don't know that Southern Fried Rice accounted for the nuances in this conversation.
It's so funny that she closed out the video by saying, I don't know, because she literally hasn't watched the series. So she's remarking on something that she hasn't watched, and this got 40,000 likes on it. Now you can go and give your pitch for a totally different story about a total, not the idea this time, but I to this girl being at the HBCU. Although I don't know how her character develops, that's where she stands with me now. And she writes, life isn't real because what do you mean I'm driving in LA? I just moved and the trailer of Keke Palmer's Southern Fried Rice series just dropped and I am in it. Now the comments are all your first Keke Palmer Southern.
Again, this girl, her color, her hair and everything would have an issue with this girl. Do you understand? I don't know them personally, so she may not, but there's usually girls of this color. And you know what? What's up with all the fucking bull rings? What's up with all the bull rings? The super liberals and shit like that. The bull rings, the black. I guarantee you, super liberal with the bull ring and her dark skin, she would say to this girl, "You're not black because you're conservative and blah 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 and all that shit." But then when this girl goes interact with let's see. Let's look it up. What's the girl name? There you go. I'm looking it up right now. Bam. So if Amala, we all saw how Amala looked, interacted with this girl, Caitlin Bennett, or was standing next to her, of course, that's a black girl. Of course. And Caitlin Bennett will not regard you as anything differently because she is that white girl from Ohio. Sad. It's sad you're from Ohio. Ohio always ruin people. But she's the white girl. She's the white girl. So instead of them coming to grips and realizing that, look, we're both black, we're just different shades of black, she would pick on her and say she's not as black as her. But then when she goes and hangs out with the white girl, obviously the white girl would be like, hey, well, you're black, you know, but you're different than us, blah, blah, blah shit. So she just getting it from both sides. Which is that's usually what I see in a lot of mixed people, is that they get it from both sides and they're not secure in themselves. They be going through a lot of bullshit on the back end within themselves. They try to be blacker, they try to be whiter, whatever it is. I've only seen 2 people actually be okay with it, and those 2 people I'm related to, my cousin Austin and my cousin Crystal. But they got 2 sisters in between them, Tiffany and Paige. Both of them 2 are fucked up. Those 2 are fucked up. You know what I mean? They're white and black as well. You know what I mean? Just the same way Crystal and Austin is white and black. But them 2 are fucked up because those are the only 2. Because I remember, you know, this was a long time ago, and they used to run around calling themselves Pacific Islanders. And I was like, what is a Pacific Islander? It was like, exactly. That's what everybody else trying to figure out. I was like, why don't you just say you're black, you know, like everybody else do? No, we can't say that because blah, blah, blah in the school and this, that, and the third. But you know how girls are, you know. But I remember I asked my cousin Austin, I was like, you got an issue? You don't want to be black? Something like that. He's like, man, that's them. You know, I mean, I'm good. I like who I am, you know, and my cousin Crystal is the same way, you know, but, you know, like I said, and I had a friend, I knew somebody named It used to be cool with this dude B. You know, that was the Black Irish dude I was telling you. He had an issue with the mixed stuff, even though he didn't want to admit it. He definitely had an issue with that. Because if you said anything about color, he had an issue with that. Yeah, I mean, we used to make so many jokes, and he got mad at me one time and didn't talk to me for like a good year. I'm not gonna lie, he didn't talk to me for like a good 8 months to a year. Because he's like, yeah, man, I don't like when you make the color jokes. It's like, that's why you stopped talking to me, man. That's the most punk shit in the world, bro. Like, if just say you don't want me to make those jokes, that's fine. I'll make jokes about something else. You know what I mean? You'll get it either way. He's like, what if I made something about your color? Nigga, I really don't care. I really don't care, man. It's cool, man. People make jokes all the time. It's cool. Hit me with something. I'm going to laugh or I'm not going to laugh. I'm going to find it funny. I'm not going to find it funny. If I find it funny, I'm going to laugh. Sometimes it'd be funny. Now, if it's not funny, just say, hey, man, nah, that wasn't funny, bro. That's all you got to go with. But yeah, no, she would have an issue with her. Anyway.
Southern Fried Rice series just dropped, and I am in, saying, I'm def not going to watch that minstrel mess, but baby, get your check. Another one writes, hey, whatever pays the bills, sis. So now you're looking at a Black creator, a Black actress, a Black creative.
Because she speaks like a 50-year-old Black aunt.
Here's another TikTok.
This is the last one.
Keke Palmer thinks that just because she speaks like a 50-year-old Black auntie who has religious psychosis, that she's smart and all wise, but she's really dumb. The fact that she is up here trying to promote a TV show that she developed called Southern Fried Rice about an Asian woman raised by a Black family and her journey and coming of age journey going to an HBCU is so tone deaf and disrespectful to our culture. This is why we need to gatekeep our culture. That girl is slow and dense. It is so tone deaf, especially at a time like this when we are quite literally fighting for our lives to exist. For you to develop and create a show like that, are you crazy? We already don't have enough coming of age shit for us, and you do that bullshit? I'm sick of her. I'm sick of her.
This is the most liked video out of all that I've shown you so far. This one has nearly 200,000 likes on it. And it's just a Black woman complaining about wanting to be the center of everything all the time. We need. People are trying to kill us. People don't want us to exist. What are you talking about? Who does not want Black people to exist? And there's no idea about gatekeeping culture that is even present in this show, because it's kind of impossible to gatekeep a culture when you've adopted an Asian baby into a Black family. It's not like somebody took this Asian kid and was like, I'm going to train you in Blackness and Black culture so that you can go to an HBCU. No, she grew up in a Black family because she was adopted by a Black family, and she decided she wanted to go to an HBCU. How powerful is that? That in growing up in the culture, she wants to be further surrounded by that culture in her college days rather than being separated from it. But that's not enough. That's not enough bowing to Black people, I guess, in this show. Never mind the fact that the vast majority of this cast, I mean 99.999% of the cast is Black. It's not enough for you guys because we have one little Asian girl bobbing around who's being Black. Like, she's literally exemplifying Black culture in everything that she does throughout this show. And she's also like made hyper aware of her place constantly. And if she wasn't made aware of it, she's defending her own place. She literally says at one point in the show that she is not Black. She will never be Black, but she grew up in a Black family and that's how she experienced Blackness. What more do you want? I must ask again.
Didn't I say another bull ring? It's always the ones with the bull ring.
And of course, in all this controversy, Keke Palmer must respond. And she basically told all of you to sit down. So
see, that's her problem. You do not need to respond, Keke. Let that shit go. You are on to bigger and better things. I'm sorry, Mama. Got people contacting me. And you're on to bigger and better things. You're producing it, whatever it is. Don't come on and respond to the internet. Let the internet be the internet.
Let's watch the video.
Hey, you guys, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I wanted to chop it up real quick about this series.
This is another point, a mute point. It may not mean nothing. Let me turn on the light. Let me turn on the light. Okay, yeah. It got dark real quick. I ain't gonna lie. This is a mute point. What happened to all the Black girls that had canceled Keke Palmer because she had beat up her ex? You know what I mean? How did we go from canceling her last year to supporting her show. Or now people saying they're not going to support it, but you supported enough that you tuned into it, you know. So you making comments about it. This make me want to go check it out, you know. So you getting other people into it. If y'all hadn't make such a big fuss of it, it wouldn't have been nothing. It would have been another show that would have been this got off the network in a season or two, because I ain't never heard of Key TV. I don't even know what fucking TV channel that is, what it's on, or some shit like that, how to look it up. But all right, Keke, let's see what you gotta say.
Called Southern Fried Rice that's premiering on Key TV that is receiving some controversial feedback. Now, Southern Fried Rice was created by Nakia Stevens. And while I can't speak to her inspiration for the show, I can speak to her dedication as a creative. I mean, Nakia has written, show ran, and produced 4 shows alongside her Damn Right Originals team with Key TV. And Key TV has proudly invested over $500,000 on her creations. And I say that because it's not easy to obtain that kind of investment. In Key TV, this is the ethos of the company. It's a network not just because it has stars and shows or has talent, but because it's about the people who create the shows and connecting them. I mean, we have Alex King, a Black queer creator that made the short film Keep Me in Mind. We have Antoine Lachey, who created the horror story Blue Forest. We have Cousin M by a father and son duo, Rosero and Eric McCoy. Chelsea Sanders, who created Make It Make Sense and Unlabeled by Lawrence Murray. Chelsea also did Dear Keke. Look, what you like is subjective, but the support of Black creatives is not. And it's a task that Key TV takes on with pride, because if you want to be a creative, you have to be able to create. And that takes money. And it's Key TV's mission to find the funds for you to be in practice, for you to experience trial and error, and to take your projects off the page and get more than one chance to do it in action. So whether you like it all or some or none, I say give these creatives a chance to grow as we continue to grow in supporting them. So God bless you guys. And like I said, Nakia has Southern Fried Rice that's coming out most recently, but she has Nepotista.
Okay, we don't need to hear the rest of that. She said, you know, essentially.
Look, she said, just because you don't like it doesn't mean you shouldn't support us, which I have an issue with that, because if I don't like it, why the fuck would I support you? You know, if you're going to, I may root for you. Like if you're up for a Grammy or something and I don't like the show, and then the other 4 people in the category, they're also up for a Grammy, but you're the only one I know, then I may be like, well, I hope Keke gets the Grammy. That's about it. But I'm not gonna still like support you and shit if I don't care for the show and the movie and everything. No, I don't have to support you just because it's Black people doing it. You know, like no. The truth is what Keke need to say, and she might have said I wasn't totally listening, is that everybody got their own difference of shows that they like and shit like that. So if you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to bash on us and hate us, especially if you never watched it. Now, if you watched it and you don't like it, it's fine for you, fine. Go on to whatever you got to go on to. You know, say your opinion, fine, but move on. You don't got to keep harping on it. We get it. But there's a whole lot of other shows that these creators do that you can watch, and you may like those more. You may just not like this one. Like she was getting ready to list off. She got 4 or 5 other shows that you can go check out. There's other creators in that space that you can go check out. You know, I mean, let them create. Maybe they'll create a show later that, I mean, everybody's not going to like the same show. It's never going to be like that. Everybody's not going to like the same movie. I mean, everybody's not going to like the same chick or whatever it is. That chick could be, I've seen, you know what I mean? Pop the Balloon, for instance. You know, me and a couple of my homies watching it, and a couple of my homies might have liked the chick that popped up. You know what I mean? I ain't going to lie. She cute. She got a nice body, whatever. She ain't doing it for me, because one of the things I don't like on women is like too many tattoos or ill-placed tattoos. You know, if you got a couple of tattoos down here, maybe it's something on the shoulder, something on the leg. If it looked nice, you know what I mean? But like too many tattoos all over the place, I ain't with that. I ain't with that. And I can't give you an exact number of how too many is. It just depends how it looks on you. Some people overdo it with the tattoos. You don't need 8,000 of them. You don't need 40 of them. You know, like I'm just not a big tattoo person. You know, like she got a nice tattoo here. I think she got another one. And there she goes. She got another one down here. Like, you know, you can't really see that, you know, whatever. You know, if she got one, you know, certain people, Keke Palmer probably look good with a nice little calf tattoo or something like that. You know, it depends how it looks on you. And also it depends because people will do a tattoo on their calf, a big ass tattoo, and it'll come all the way up to their thigh. You know, I've seen women with that, or they'll have a tattoo and it'll be all across their chest and their neck and shit. I'm good off all of that. I'm not into tattoos, but like I said, everybody not gonna like what you like. I know people that are into tattoos, they love that shit. You know what I mean? They talk for hours about how the different tattoos and the time it took and how they figured out how to get them and the pain they went through and shit like that. That's what they're into. I'm not going to talk to you about your tattoo. It'll probably never happen. Even if I like a girl with a tattoo, I've dated girls with tattoo. I may like the tattoo, how it look on you and shit like that. I'm never probably going to ask you about it. That's the truth. Yeah, I mean, unless it's like a picture of somebody or a date or something like that. If it's like how she got a dragon tattoo, I'm not gonna ask her like, why'd you get that dragon tattoo, nigga? Because it usually be like, the story usually be like, I don't know, I just wanted a tattoo and then I saw the dragon, it looked nice. I was like, hey, let's put the dragon on me. It's never no story behind it. Most people are not thoughtful when it comes to what they mark their body up. But, you know, I'm just not into tattoos. So other people are, but not me. So that's another way to show that everybody ain't got the same fucking preference. Everybody ain't got to like your show. It just is what it is, Keke. You shouldn't have responded. Just move the fuck on. Oh, man, I don't know if I talked about this. I think I did talk about this the other day. Either way, that stud that wore, I know I didn't talk about it because I was talking to myself. And I still didn't get to watch the Anton Daniels thing. I'll pull it up.
Yeah. We got a new hustle unlocked. I'm a school teacher now.
This chick is diabolical. This chick may need to be in jail, but let's just start it.
Yeah. We got a new hustle unlocked. I'm a school teacher now. Little brothers. Who would have ever thought?
First of all,
yeah. We got a new hustle unlocked. I'm a school teacher now.
She said little breakfast. This is at 6:30 in the morning, right? And that's a regular countertop. So you bought all this shit the night before, right? All this shit the night before or whatever. Or you had but for breakfast, she had an orange that she just took off the screen. You have a Lunchable, a Gatorade, a water, some Zatarans. I don't know. Some Zatarans, some sour Skittles, and you got a fork. What are you going to use the fork for? For the Lunchables? Or is that for what you eat lunch? But I don't know what this is. This ain't fucking breakfast. This is a lot of things. This is not breakfast. I wouldn't give my kid that shit. A Lunchable and some Skittles and some Zatarans? Are you crazy? A Gatorade and some water? The fuck type of food is that? No. And you got to teach our kids. Teach our kids that they shouldn't be eating that shit. You know what I mean? For breakfast? What?
Breakfast. Who would have ever thought?
Breakfast. It's crazy. The student didn't even know you were a teacher. Turn that off. Is that a teacher? Why they gotta ask that? Why they gotta ask that? Because you dressed like this shit. You dressed like a fucking kid. You dressed like a child. You know what I mean? You're in a position of power. Put on a guy. It's bad enough that you want to go and pretend you're a man. That's fine. Go pretend you're a man. You know what men do when they teach? They put on a fucking suit. They put on a presentable clothing to wear, and they don't walk around with a big ass chain, looking like it's a damn children. You know what I mean? Looking like you going to a club or some shit like that, or a party or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, at least you got a briefcase. You try to show some type of semblance of something. But still, go back to the. Is that a teacher?
Today was real.
And she just loving that shit up. You look like a student. They looking at you crazy. See, this video ain't showing the whole thing, but on the other one that I saw, it flipped back and it showed how the other woman teachers are dressed, and none of them was dressed like her.
Today was really a breeze. My kids
wasn't none of them dressed like. Come on, this look like a student. This look like a student, man. You got this big ass chain. You know what I mean? Somebody getting ready. One of the older teachers getting ready to tell you take that shit off and go to fucking detention.
Have to do too much, man. I really, to be honest, I let them do whatever they want to do. Yes, I'm that type of teacher. Yeah, they got it going on at this junk. They stay bound. Okay, then. Damn, I'm short. Sheesh.
That's the most egregious part of this video. Damn, shorty. Hold on, let me finish.
Man, I gotta get up at these school kids trying to take me down.
All of that is the egregious part of this video. Damn, shorty, which is one of these 3-4 kids right in here, because that's when you said it. Damn, shorty, I gotta get out of school. These kids trying to take me down. If that's not the most predatory shit I've ever heard in my life, if that's not the most I fuck with little kids sometimes things I've ever heard in my life, hey man, you gotta go. Because for one, you're an adult, control yourself. 2, why are you looking at children? Why are you looking at, you're coming into high school, middle school, whatever the fuck it is. Why the fuck are you looking at children? Why aren't your mind already like, this is a high school? You know what I mean? These are kids. I mean, that's how some people minds are just wired differently, because my mind would think these are children. Like, that's it. I don't give a fuck how you look, how you're trying to look grown, how you're trying to present yourself to be. Oh, I look like this. I look like this. Damn, you could be a 19-year-old. I done heard people say nasty shit, especially since I moved to the South. Since I moved to Florida, I done heard grown people say, well, she's old enough to cross the street. She old enough to get hit. It's like, that's disgusting. Or that ass, or she may be 16, but that ass is 21. I'm like, that's disgusting, bro. Like, that's just disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's not even funny. They'd be like, this joke's. Nah, it's not funny, because I've met people that, have smashed kids, and, either. I'm just saying now. I don't even want to go into anymore, but that's disgusting. That's disgusting. Like, your brain shouldn't even be wired like that. You should know not to mess with kids. Why are you looking at kids in that way? And women think, and she think because she's a woman, oh, it's not predatory because I'm a woman, I ain't gonna do. But imagine if it was a man teacher, because she's presenting herself as a man. That's what she wants. She probably wants to go by as a man and shit like that. She probably has her students call him Mr. whatever the fuck her name is. And so since she wanted to be presented as a man, let's just say if this was an actual man and he got on a TikTok and said, damn, shorty, around these 4 or 5 kids that was in the video, because that's when she said it, damn, shorty, these kids trying to take me down, he would be out of there so fast. In fact, not just him getting fired, he wouldn't just get, like, the school wouldn't just hear about the video and get fired. So many parents would either call up that school or run down to that school because they would see this video, because everybody got TikTok and shit. So many parents will run down to that school and be protesting that man. Bring it, and so many fathers will be out there. Bring his ass outside. We about to beat his ass, blah, blah, blah. Who you saying that to? You know what I mean? But because it's a chick, you know what I mean? She different rules.
Man, I'm actually a great person to have around your kids. You get what I'm saying? Great mentor.
Hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
Try to take me down, man. I'm actually.
No, you're not. You're not. What? She looking at the kids in a sexual way, like what the hell she need to be put on that list. I don't know if she need to be put on the list because I don't know how it works on the list. Just because you say something, I'm pretty sure that's not how America is. Just because you say something, you know, they don't put you, you know, just because people say, yeah, I'm going to kill you, that don't mean they lock you up for being a murderer. You got to actually do the crime or do something, it could be a poor judgment of words, as she tried to explain in one of her videos. But we all know, if you grew up in the 90s, if you lived in the 90s, like if you were born in the 80s and you lived in the 90s, or you were born in the 90s and you grew up in the 90s and early 2000s, damn shorty don't come with, damn shorty, blah, blah, damn shorty come with, damn shorty, like, man, you bad. Like, nobody say damn shorty. Like, and they said these kids trying to take me down. Like, come on, we all know what that means. So look, man, but she, at the very least, she has to be looked at as, I don't know, I can't leave you around my kids. One, you're dressing like a child, so there's no boundary there. You're not dressing like a grown-up per se, especially going to a high school, you're dressing like you're dressing like a child. That's one. And then two, you're looking at the kids. That's three. I mean, sorry, two, you're looking at the kids. That's two. Three, you said at like 8:30 in the morning back in the beginning of the video, you was like, I let the kids do whatever they want. Yeah, I'm that type of teacher. Well, these kids need to learn. These kids need to be structured. I get it. When I was in high school, I loved a teacher like that. I had a teacher like that. Coach Grasso, whenever they called him in as substitute, we didn't do the work that we needed to do that day for the class. I will be honest with that, unless the teacher had already printed out some stuff and he just had to pass it around. But did he not tell? He told us, hey, sit down and catch up on something, do some homework and stuff. It wasn't just, hey, you could talk all loud you want and you could be all blah, blah, blah. So don't get it twisted. We were doing that in the back of the class. But every now and then he'd be like, hey, cut it. He would call somebody name too, because, a lot of us played on his team, on the basketball team. He'd call us by name. Hey, cut it out, man. Keep doing your work. Hey, Sad, cut it out. Keep doing your work. Hey, Alex, cut it out. Stop. Keep doing your work, man. And then we would chill out for a little bit, or we'd be quieter. But yeah, you have teachers like that, but they're still saying, yeah, get some work done, do some work. They're not just like, hey, go do whatever you want to do. It's still some structure to it. So I would look at that as well. And then 4, you can't be around my kid if that's what you eating for breakfast. You are unhealthy. With all due respect, a lot of us out here are not the best in the best health and the best shape. But that for breakfast, sour Skittles and Zatarans and an orange, nah, I'm good off of that. You ain't even putting the right stuff into your body. You thinking the right stuff gonna come out of your mouth to teach my kid?
A great person to have around your kids. You get what I'm saying? Great mentor. He always been on.
And I say I just don't like people with all these tattoos. They put all these tattoos on their skin. She got tattoos on her neck, all down her arms and shit like that. I got issue with that too.
Straight, never been a loose screw. You get what I'm saying?
And to that stud that got fired as a substitute teacher.
This is one of the most egregious parts.
That's on here acting.
2 egregious parts. 1, she wore a dildo to school, or a strap to school. It's crazy. And then 2, up in this corner, she's smoking at lunch. At lunch, 12:30 p.m., she got to go get her lunch. She's smoking on the school. Not smoking cigarette, not smoking mild, not smoking cigar. We all know what she's smoking. It's not crack, heroin, or black tar, anything like that. It's a certain thing that represents the same color, that is the same color as this background right here. It grow the same way this background grow right here. That's what she's smoking on. But this, why would you even put this in your video right here? Substitute teach for the first time. Why would you put both of these 2 things in your video? Because they didn't catch you. They didn't catch you smoking. So why out yourself? And why would you wear a fucking dildo in your pants to school? Make that make sense. Even if you do that in your spare time, why would you do it? And then 2, why would you do it in, going into school? And then 2, on top of that, why would you have this part of your video? What are you trying to show off? What are you trying to like? Who is that for? And the only people that are going to be going to watch you is the kids.
Confused about why she got fired, you need to be thankful that all they did was fire you, because they needed to call on people and have you added to that list.
You know, nothing surprises me
She's cute. Nice lips.
Anymore. Absolutely nothing.
Well, I ain't gonna go into your whole video. I just want to see that part. I'm pretty sure you said fire stuff in your video. But I'm gonna give you a like just because I'm looking at it. But that's funny. I would like to hear that. But look, she had to get fired. She had to get fired. Forget her. She had to get fired. Now I'm gonna look at this Anton. I'm gonna look at Sonya Massey first. Let's see the update. Because for me, this is the open and shut case. But let's see what the jury do. And for anybody who don't remember who Sonya Massey is the woman.
To Illinois now, where a jury.
The black woman that was cooking in her house. Give me 1 second. All right, we gotta do this quick because I gotta be out of here in a few minutes. But Sonya Massey is the black woman that, you know, I don't know if she called the cops. I think she called the cops because she heard some shit outside, and they came in. They forced their way in the house, and she was cooking a pot of water. And the cop tried to be like, "Oh, she threw the water at him," but we all know she was like, "I rebuke you," and then he shot her. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. But this is an open and shut case, in my opinion. But yeah, that Hurricane 4, I hope it do not come to Florida. Hope it do not hit Florida. And I pray for all the people in Jamaica. I got some family down there. I got a lot of family actually down there. So I reached out to a couple of them. I hope they're okay. I haven't heard anything back yet. And some other people I know out there, some friends and stuff, reached out to them. I haven't heard anything back yet, but I hope everything's okay. And I hope everybody else is all right. You know, Jamaica's a small island. We ain't got the same funding and resources as America. So and it's going to be a lot of rebuilding. Actually, it's a lot of small islands in that. You know what I mean? Cuba, Bahamas, they all getting hit. Haiti looked like part of Haiti got hit. So, man.
Is deciding the fate of the former sheriff's deputy who killed Sonya Massey. Sean Grayson is facing 3 counts of first-degree murder for shooting Massey in her own home last year. Yesterday, Grayson took the stand saying he fired in self-defense because he believed that Sonya Massey would throw a pot of boiling water at him. Here's body camera footage of that interaction, which may be disturbing to some viewers.
Where you going? Away from your hot steaming water. Away from my hot steaming water? Yeah. Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I swear to God, you trade your face. Okay, I'm sorry. Drop the pot!
Let's bring in CB.
He ain't got nothing he could say. Because the second she said, "I rebuke you," you hear the water. You hear it unhook. Yeah. You hear him start to unhook. Right there, you hear it go, and it's like the pop when he popped the gun so he could grab it. And he popped the clip so he could grab it. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. First of all, they're not close. You see how far they are? How far is that water? She gotta be. What's that dude name? O'Shaughnessy or O'Shaughnessy, whatever that dude is from baseball. I don't know baseball like that. I know Ryan Nolan's, ain't he a pitcher or something like that? What's the dude from? I wish I could remember the dude from the Yankees. CC Sabathia. She got to be CC Sabathia. Like he got to be. She got to have been able to toss all of that water. Like I'm pretty sure this cop watched Medea And he was thinking like, oh, I don't even want to get my face burned like that one guy did. But she was so close to fucking Medea. Like, that's why he got his face burned. They weren't across the kitchen or across the living room. You know, like, she's not throwing that pot of water that far. If it did get on you, it'd get on you. If she were to throw it, it would get on like your pants and your shoes. Like, come on now. And if you're like any person, any real person is going to move out the way if she throws some hot water at you, or block or run back or something, you know, be like,
in the water?
Yeah. Deliberate.
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
You hear it unlock right there. You hear it unclip right there. And then you start to pull his stuff. He said, I will shoot you in your fucking face. She's the one that called you guys for the disturbance outside. Look how far they are. Look how far they are. And you could tell she's scared. She already was getting ready to get down. Put the pot up to her face. Like, yo, she trying to protect herself.
Let's bring in CBS News senior crime and public safety producer Anna Schechter, who is following the trial for us.
The jury is deliberating right now in the murder trial of Sean Grayson. That's the former sheriff's deputy.
Oh, they're deliberating. They had the trial already, and now the jury is deliberating. If the jury come back with any less than a guilty verdict, I have an issue with this. I have an issue with the people on the jury. I have an issue with the people that prosecuted her. And I have an issue with the law and the judge and everything. Because one thing I do know about sentences is that judges can say, well, no, I don't agree with that. And I'm going to dismiss the jury and I'm going to sentence you to blah, blah, blah. Or I'm not going to sentence you to blah, blah, blah. They do have that power, even though you go to a jury trial. So, you know, I think this should be an easy, but, you know, in that Botham Jean murder, she only got 10 years and she getting ready to come out. If it was 10 years, I think it might've been 5, but she getting ready to come out. And it was hard for them to get a conviction on that because she was trying to be like, oh yeah, I thought I was at the right apartment and blah. How you get off at the wrong floor? How you get off at a floor up? And like, I live on the first floor. Not once in my ever life have I walked up to the second floor and tried to get into their apartment. It's never happened. And you know how drunk I've been coming. I've been dumb drunk coming home and shit like that. Super fucked up. It's never happened that I forgot. So she talking about I was tired, I forgot. Nah, that don't make sense to me.
Who shot and killed Sonya Massey. Now, the case is not about whether or not he pulled the trigger. The jury was shown the video by both prosecutors and the defense, leaning on the very same video to make their argument. Prosecutors say it's clear that he could have taken a step back and exited out an unlocked door. He did not have to fire that weapon, even if he perceived her as a threat. And the prosecutors noted that she only weighs 114 pounds, that the last thing she said before she was shot was, "I'm sorry." They also note that right before Grayson fired a shot, he made a threat saying essentially, "I'm going to shoot you in the face." And they left the jury with that argument. Now, on the defense side, they leaned into that very same video and said, like prosecutors, you can believe your eyes.
Man, was that the picture? That was the picture of the video? Even in the damn video, they're so far. Even in the picture, they're so far apart. They made them look a little bit closer. She was a little bit farther, more to the corner, and she, like, nah, they got mittens in her hands, like kitchen mittens, so she was of no threat.
Very same video. And
I mean, it's just a pussy cop that shouldn't have been a cop, but he became a cop because he a pussy. And that's what happens when you make pussies cops.
Said, like prosecutors, you can believe your eyes. What you see is what happened. And they show the pot of boiling water that Sonya Massey had taken off the stove. Their argument is that she was raising it up to throw it at him, and that the use of force using his firearm was the only option for Grayson. And they invited a use of force expert to take the stand to testify that Grayson's pulling that trigger instead of using a taser, but using the gun, was actually within the bounds, and he used that gun essentially to de-escalate the situation. That was.
How did the gun de-escalate the situation? How? Let me know. Let me know. Is Sonya Massey in jail? Is she in jail? Because you said she threatened you, so she should be in jail. It stopped her from, the gun stopped her from threatening you, so she's still alive and she's in jail right now. You know what I mean? And you still got your job. So it didn't de-escalate it. It even escalated more because now you're on trial and she's dead. It didn't de-escalate shit. You didn't use your words. You didn't first say, hey, put the pot down. You didn't say any of that stuff. You just went to, I'll shoot you right in your face.
De-escalating the situation. Now, lots of legal experts that I've spoken to are weighing in that the defense has a major challenge because the video is damning and you do see him pull the trigger. In fact, the video shows him getting angry after Sonya Massey says to him, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That's when things.
Is he a devil? That's a fucking demon. He a demon with white skin. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. He's the devil. He's the devil. Why would you get mad? Somebody say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, unless, you know, you the devil, or you going against Jesus? You going against God, boy?
Escalate. They go from 0 to 60. The tone of his voice changes. He draws his firearm, makes the threat, tells her, I'm going to shoot you in the face. And the defense says at that point, that's when Massey should have retreated, complied with him, and the defense says that it's actually her fault that he fired that.
It's always black people's fault. It's always black people's fault why they get killed, even though she had a pot of water in her hands and she didn't make no threat to you or steal anything or do any crime. So you're right. Yeah. Yep. It's definitely the one that wasn't a criminal, didn't have any criminal record, and was cooking in her own house, that wasn't bothering anybody, that called the police because she heard somebody that breaking in or was doing some crazy stuff outside. You're right. It's definitely the one that was in the right here and was doing all the correct stuff than the one that pulled the gun and shot him. You're absolutely right. She was the reason why she died. Yep. Defense, that makes sense. Does that make any sense to you? That's what you guys came with? But you know what? This is
a deadly shot, or those 3 shots. One of them was deadly. Now, what's interesting in this case, he is charged with first-degree murder, but yesterday we learned in court that the jury can convict him on second-degree murder if they find, yes, he did murder her, but there were mitigating factors. So the sentencing guidelines for second-degree murder in the state of Illinois are lower. It's more like a time served or probation up to 20 years, whereas first-degree murder is 45 years to life in prison. So this is a big distinction.
They probably won't give him first-degree murder. I'll be honest, just because they had that, they just put that caveat in there with the going to second-degree murder. I could see them convicting him of second-degree murder, and they pulling a fucking Botham Jean like they did with that chick down there and giving him like 10 years, some bullshit like that. Well, but they really need to give him 20 if they hit him with second degree, and like, yo, let you fight it out in the Illinois prison system, because somebody gonna get to that butt. Somebody gonna get to that butt. Don't drop the soap when they let you in there.
And all eyes are on this jury, and we are waiting. They are deliberating right now as we speak, and we are waiting for that verdict.
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear the verdict. All right, last video, then I'm out of here, because I got some things I got to do. Anton Daniels. Let's see, exposed. You know, people hate on Anton. Exposed hates his wife. Damn, they really don't like this guy. I don't know why they hate on him so much. You know, certain things I think, and I looked at this video a little bit. She said it was, hold on, y'all.